All right. I think we're rolling. Okay. So for those of you who don't know me, hi, I am Ashley. I am a Scentsy independent director or director with Scentsy. And I have been saying I'm going to do this video for so long. I just haven't built the courage or haven't found the courage or that's it to do this. So we're going to give this a shot. So I am a mom to 4 incredibly different boys, all boys. I am a wife. I am a sister. I am an aunt. I'm all the things, okay? I think we find, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I'm going to speak for myself. But I think sometimes I find myself getting lost being a mom, being a wife. As my joke is, I'm a nurse, I'm a doctor, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a chef, I'm a chauffeur. Whatever you want, I wear every hat. And in 2015, my husband got sick. Just out of the blue, one day wasn't feeling well. We were at a baseball game and he just was like shivering and wasn't feeling well. So we left the baseball game and we came home and I was like, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I think I'm coming down with something. So he goes to sleep. The next day, you know, we go about our day. It was a Saturday and he had to work. I took our oldest for ACT testing at the time. And then at the time it was only the 3 of them. So our 2 youngest had a baseball camp, like end of season barbecue thing. So I did that, whatever. And then I get a phone call from our oldest, like, I think something's wrong with dad. Like he was like, his driving was a little wonky, this, that, and the other. So long story short, we take him to the hospital and his blood sugar was like sky high, like scary sky high. And he kept talking about red coupon. Like it wasn't making any sense. But then when we get to the hospital, they ask you the basic questions like, what day is it? Who's your president? What's your birthday? What's your name? This, that, the other. And he was fine. Then all of a sudden he was like in and out of consciousness. Till today, we have no idea what caused it, but he had an infection in his bloodstream. So that was a very rough, like 10 days in the hospital. Like we had to be dressed like in full covered gowns and masks and gloves. And I know now masks are a thing, but back then they weren't. And we had no idea. You know, fast forward a year from then, we're good. Nothing happens. You know, he's healthy. And then in 2017, he gets ill again. And I'm like, shit. Well, we come to find out that he was in renal failure. Renal failure is just when your kidneys are not functioning at the capacity that they need to be. So he was put on dialysis. Dialysis is just a system that you go as many times a week for as many hours as they give you to pretty much filter your blood, because that's what our kidneys do. Our kidneys filter our bloodstream. Well, he's still on dialysis almost 4 years later. December of 2021 will be 4 years. Yeah, since he's been put on dialysis. He used to have a port in his chest and now he has a fistula in his arm and he goes 3 times a week, 3.5 hours. He is such a trooper. Oh my gosh, we're not gonna cry yet. But yeah, like our lives kind of changed and went upside down and we were just like, oh my. So to get on a kidney transplant is not that easy. I know everyone's like, oh yeah, so-and-so got a kidney transplant. Yeah, it's a lot. You can't even have a cavity in your mouth to even be a thought in jumping on one of these things. So we are still not on the kidney transplant list, but we're working our way that way. But in 2019, February 25th, 2019, that weekend he had complained about just having a really bad headache. And we thought nothing of it, you know, just so maybe you're tired or just stressed from work and stuff like that. And he went to bed. And Monday morning, I woke up like in panic because it sounded like he was throwing up. So I ran into the bathroom and he's sitting on the tub, you know, getting dressed. And I'm like, are you okay? And he looks at me with this face that I can't even express. the fear that was in his eyes instantly made me go into that mama bear, keep your calm mode. As I'm sitting there trying to converse with him, he can't speak. You can see it. I felt like I was in a movie. You can see like him trying to speak with his eyes, and it would not come out. He starts to seize, and I am familiar with seizures because I had one when I was 11, and I've known a few people that have suffered from epilepsy. So I knew what was happening. But in the beginning, I thought it was a stroke, and I was like, oh my gosh, what do you do? Like, listen, I watch enough Grey's Anatomy. I watch enough shows. I swear to God, I could be a doctor, not even joking. All I did was call 911. He could understand me because he could nod his head, but he couldn't speak. And that made my heart sink. This whole time I still have to keep myself composed because I don't want him to freak out, so to speak. So we call 911. I had woken up my kids, and our second oldest had witnessed the seizure, and that was something that just like my heart just shattered. Like, oh my gosh, my kids don't know what to do. But again, I still remained calm. I still hadn't cried, and I truly think it's just because nothing had hit me yet, like full on hit me, like what was going on. So we come to find out that he had a massive brain bleed. And when you hear brain bleed, you're like, oh my God. Again, I watch a lot of TV, a lot of things. So a lot of things run through your mind. And I sat there like, okay, what does that mean? And, you know, obviously they have to give you the best and the worst case things. And we didn't know what was going to happen, but they had given him some sedation, some medicine for his seizures so that, you know, he would be, and when he was speaking, he sounded like a very drunk old man, like slurring his words. And, you know, we talked to a neurosurgeon, and he was like, it's because the blood is on the left side of his brain, and the left side of his brain is pretty much like shutting down. So your motor skills are impacted. So the first thing that runs through my mind was, is he going to make it? The words didn't come out of my mouth, but that was the first thing that ran through my mind. So the neurosurgeon was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And he told us that his blood was so thin. The surgery was a few hours. He had absolutely no platelets, and surgery is done. So he explained what was going to happen, and he explained why everything happened. And he has the craniotomy, the brain surgery, and I'm taken back to see him, and instantly I knew something was wrong. He had been put under before. He's had surgeries in his life before that. He's had anesthesia, and he has been put under the knife before. So I instantly knew something was wrong. But I'm a very positive, very upbeat, outspoken person, to where I don't ever let those cross my mind, but they do cross my mind, if that makes sense. And I remember asking the surgical nurse that was there, I'm like, something's wrong. And she's like, oh, well, some people are different with, you know, coming off anesthesia. I'm like, no, this is not his first time having anesthesia, like something's wrong. He starts throwing up. And it was just like vile, because obviously you can't eat anything before you go into a surgery. And she's like, I think you're right. So she goes and she checks his eyes, and his pupils are not responsive. And again, I'm no doctor, but you kind of know what's going on. And I'm trying so hard to keep it together. And I'm like, girl, you cannot break right now. So they page the neurosurgeon. He goes and gets a CT scan, and we come to find out he has another brain bleed. The throwing up caused him to bleed again. So it's very uncommon to have a double craniotomy in the same day. He had another craniotomy, and we were devastated. I was devastated. I was like, oh my gosh, okay. So I'm the kind of person that I will always hope for the best, but I will always prepare for the worst. So the entire time I am preparing to tell my kids what could happen, that their dad could become a vegetable, which was the worst case scenario is what they told us. So he comes out of the surgery, and the second one, and it was almost like 9:00 at night. My kids were in Miami with my sisters, except our oldest was with me, but our 3 other were in Miami. And when I went in to see him, that is when it hit me. I have never broke like that before in my life. Fast forward, he's in ICU for almost a month. And since he wasn't showing any much progress, he was sent to a long-term care facility, which was, God, that was such a nightmare. That was a nightmare. But I am someone who, we pray. We ask people, to keep us in our prayers. And again, I'm very positive and I'm very upbeat. And the long care facility was not doing him any good. He finally did wake up after being off the sedation. He had a trach put in, so we had to have it capped in order. Okay, hold on. In order for him to speak. And that place just wasn't doing him any good. Like it wasn't helping anybody. So I had him moved to a rehab facility, and he was there for about another 5 to 6 weeks. So fast forward to May, when he got out of all these things. And sorry, my little one needs something. And he's out of rehab, he's back home. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, like I was a stay-at-home mom. What am I going to do with my time? What am I going to do with myself? Like, how am I going to support my family? We had doctor's appointments. I had to deal with his trach. He wasn't just somebody that I could leave by himself. Well, one night I'm sitting on Instagram and Scentsy pops up. And I'm somebody that's very big on fate and things are meant to be. Things happen for a reason. And it was their 15th anniversary special, and you could join for $15. And I did. I was like, you know what? What do I have to lose for 15 bucks? I spend more of that on Amazon, right? So I get my little join kit and I get all my stuff. And the first thing I did was I reached out to my family. I actually had a friend who had told me she loved Scentsy, and if I ever decided to sell, to give her a call. And she became my first and still one of my best customers. I never in my wildest dreams thought that I could support my family, take care of my husband, take care of our kids with a $15 investment. That had to be the scariest time of my life. I thought I was losing my best friend. I thought my kids were losing their dad. So I'm here to tell you, we go through some shit in life, but it's how we handle it. It's how we overcome those obstacles. And I am so grateful. 2 years later, my husband is still here. He does suffer from epilepsy, so he does have seizures, but we take medicine for that controls it. We have been through the ringer and back, and it has been very rough for our family, but it has also made us a lot closer and have us so grateful for everything that comes our way. So if you are going through something, or you have been through something in your life, or whatever your story is, my why to join Scentsy was to help support my family at a time like that. My why now is completely different. It is to save our money and to purchase a home. Our first home, we've yet to purchase one. It is to help take care of our boys. It is to help pay for my husband's medical things that are needed. It is to share the love that I have for this company. Our lives were rocked in 2019, right after our son turned 1. And all I kept thinking was, oh my gosh, Maverick can't grow up without this amazing dad. So your whys are always going to change. They're always going to change. You're always going to have some other reason. You're going to hit that goal, whether it was to pay for your car payment or go on that dream vacation you've been going on, and then you're going to have a different why. And if your why is not changing, then, you know, maybe you need to readdress that. But I've never done sales in my life. And I took the leap of, you know, the leap of faith and was like, I think I could do this. I had no guidance. My sponsor was absent, which just wasn't somebody that was super involved or anything. And I reached out to the community of Scentsy consultants, and man, I have found my place. I have found my place. It warms my heart, not only to see my family benefit from this, but to see how much myself I have grown. The amount of shiznit I have been through, the hell and back we have gone. To have such something so bright and so positive and so uplifting is amazing. So if you've ever once doubted yourself or thought, I can't do it now, I can't do this, I am here to tell you, you can. You can. Because if I can do it with a mom of 4 kids, and when I joined, my son was only like 1.5 years, a sick husband, you can do it too. So I have been saying for a very long time I was going to share my story and who I was and my why. And it was very hard to do, and it's still hard to discuss, but it has gotten done, and I can only hope that you can relate to me some way, shape, or form, or I can shine some light on you in some way, shape, or form, that it's gonna be okay. We all go through things. You're not alone. We're all some way, shape, or form a survivor of something, and having Scentsy to fall back on, and having the community, and having the community to be with, and to kind of like have us be able to bounce ideas off one another, and just to have that sisterhood, as I call it, is just absolutely phenomenal. And I am beyond grateful for this journey, for this opportunity, for it all. I am so grateful for it all. And if you've ever thought about direct sales and you have like, I don't want to do direct sales, I am here to tell you that we are not your typical direct sales, and you need to jump on this bus. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening to me. And I hope I have made you smile, made you cry, I'm sure, and just kind of giving you a piece of who Ashley is.